So as if, let's face it, things weren't already bustling enough down in the budget realms of the smartphone market, war great mate Poco is back with an upgraded version of the excellent Poco X3 Pro, known slightly confusingly as the Poco X3 GT, where the GT possibly stands for girthy tackle. And the Poco X family sits somewhere between the super affordable M3 phones and the super powered F3, offering enough grunt and a respectable set of features for fairly demanding users on a bit of a budget. But is the Poco X3 GT actually worth sticking your SIM inside of? Well, I've had my own personal SIM in this bad boy for about a week now, so here's my full in-depth review. And for more on the latest and greatest tech, please do subscribe and ding that notifications bell. Cheers! Now, as a bloke who really didn't like the obnoxious arse end on that Poco X3 Pro with its ridiculous oversized branding, I'm definitely a lot happier with this GT model. Sure, admittedly the Poco X3 GT certainly doesn't do anything revolutionary or stand out compared with the rest of its budget smartphone rivals, but it certainly looks a lot more mature with that more restrained branding for one, and just the general smart, neat and tidy aesthetics. Although yeah, that camera chassis, while attractive enough, does poke quite some distance from the rear end. Hence, yes, the Poco X3 GT certainly does jiggle like a sloppy jelly if it's lying flat on a table or a desk you try actually using it. That glossy plastic back comes in blue, white or black, and this stock model does add a subtle bit of excitement with its gradient finish and a bit of sparkly surfacing that you'll only really notice when it catches the light just so. And yeah, that arse on the Poco X3 GT is actually so shiny you could use it as a mirror if you really wanted to, although the surface does get quite greasy and grubby after a bit of handling, so yeah, cleaning cloths at the ready. And so far, touch wood though, that plastic back end is not susceptible to scratches or scuffs, absolutely no damage whatsoever. You do actually get a condom case bundled in the box with it as well to protect it if you like. And impressively, you've actually got Gorilla Glass Victus up front as well, the latest, freshest version of Gorilla Glass, which is occasionally susceptible to scratches, certainly in my testing, but it is highly drop resistant as well, which is great news if you are a bit of a butterfingers. Like other Poco blowers, you've got a good bit of Xiaomi's MiUI 12 launcher plonked on top of Android 11, and boy, what is there to say about MiUI that I haven't already said about 20 dozen times in 2021 alone. The MiUI experience is getting more and more like stock Android with every passing iteration. You've got the likes of the Discover feed, you've got an actual apps drawer there by default if you want it, which is great to see, but it is an undeniably heavy launcher as well, which adds a butt ton of extra features and tools and apps. A lot of these, including the excellent video toolbox and game turbo mode, are actually useful. However, MiUI does also come burdened with a shagload of crapware which must be dealt with if you want to declutter your apps drawer and also free up a bit of that storage space. Thankfully, you do at least get a generous choice of either 128 or 256 gigs of UFS 3.1 nice and nippy storage here on the Poco X3 GT as well. But there is no way to expand that using a microSD memory card, no support whatsoever there, which is a real shame because that's a feature you did have with the Poco X3 Pro, so absolutely gutted to see it culled for the GT model. Still, gotta say, in my time with the Poco X3 GT, I didn't see any proper quirks or bugs or other weird little issues to speak of. It just basically generally behaved itself. Just my usual warning that, of course, do not expect the usual dedication to OS and security updates here on the Poco X3 GT that you would get from something like a Nokia branded smartphone instead. No complaints when it comes to that super skinny edge-mounted fingerprint sensor, which works impressively well, and you've always got that face unlock support as backup. Although I did find that this still worked absolutely fine even when I had my massive face mask covering half of my features as well, so probably not the most secure of face unlock options. And there's not much change at all on the screen front compared with the older Pro model. This is once again a 6.6-inch IPS panel with Full HD Plus resolution, but while the Poco X3 GT doesn't sport an OLED display, you can still expect reasonably poppy colours and impressive contrast. The Poco X3 GT supports HDR10 streaming on Netflix and other services as well, which is great to see at this price point. And it's also great to see a dynamic refresh rate that maxes out at 120Hz as well, which is absolutely fantastic. Definitely one of the best at this sort of budget price point. But unfortunately, the maximum brightness wasn't quite strong enough to make visibility nice and clear on a really sunshiny day outdoors. So if you're the kind of person who spends a lot of time outside with a smartphone, you might want to look elsewhere. Poco's stereo speaker setup does pack a decent punch, certainly loud enough on that top volume, although you do get quite tinny output when you max it out as well. You've got high-res audio certification and a good bit of Dolby Atmos fine-tuning on this thing as well. You can give the vocals a bit of a boost when you're watching a video and such forth, but unfortunately there's no headphone jack on here, so you're going to have to dongle it up, otherwise rely on the Bluetooth. Thankfully, Bluetooth 5.2 did work pretty well. You've got strong codec support and everything here on the Poco X3 GT. I did notice a little bit of a judder in my audio playback when I hibernated the phone, slipped it away in a pocket when I was listening on the Bluetooth headphones. Apart from that though, absolutely fine. And performance is provided by a 6nm MediaTek Dimensity 1100 chipset backed by 8 gigs of DDR4 RAM, which means that the Poco X3 GT is great for everyday shenanigans and gaming as well, even when you're messing about on demanding titles like Genshin Impact. The 240Hz touch sampler means the screen is super responsive. The phone just immediately reacts to whatever you want to do, and I found that on those medium detail settings, Genshin Impact ran perfectly. And good news if you're addicted to your game of choice as well, because the Liquid Core Technology 2.0 means you've got a good bit of vapor chamber action there, plus layers of graphite and graphene. And I found that the Poco X3 GT stayed nice and cool, even with extended gaming sessions across an afternoon. And yes, of course, you've got MiUI's usual dedicated gaming tools as well. If you want a bit of a helping hand, just keep that performance nice and smooth, block any notifications, all that kind of stuff. On top of that, that Dimensity chipset offers 5G support across both SIMs, and you've also got full Wi-Fi 6 support as well, so connectivity is scorching hot. And I was not surprised at all that the Poco X3 GT's 5000 mAh battery combined with that quite energy efficient chipset and all the other good stuff means that you can easily get a full day of use out of this thing, even with plenty of screen on time, good bit of camera play, bit of gaming, bit of media streaming, all that good stuff. And if you're a bit more restrained, just the occasional bit of messaging, web browsing, etc., you'll get through 2 full days on a single charge. And then powering up is no problem whatsoever. You've got 67 watt fast charging support here on the Poco X3 GT, so about 40 minutes at the plug, you're back up to full from empty. Now for the camera setup, the main headline here is that 64 megapixel primary sensor, and I was definitely satisfied with the photos churned out by this thing. In natural light, you'll get respectable 16 megapixel snaps on the auto mode, with colours cleanly captured, including skin tones and more vivid subjects. And even when you do move indoors, the Poco X3 GT can generally produce bright, detailed pics that again look close to what you'll see with the naked eye as far as the colours go. No worries with pets or kids either, because that fast shutter action and the effective focus, plus the option of a burst mode by holding your finger on the shutter button, meant that I got loads of good photos even when my subject was bouncing around like Tigger on a whole heap of crack. And the portrait mode does a good job of masking the background with a bokeh style blur effect. However, the Poco X3 GT definitely did struggle with strong contrast, so you'll have to take care whenever you're shooting against a bright sky, for instance. While in low light, I often got murky, grainy results, with the night mode only making a teeny bit of difference. Home movies can be shot at up to 4K resolution at 30 frames per second or 60 FPS if you're happy to stick with a full HD resolution. And again, as with the photo capture, I was perfectly happy with the video that I captured at least 9 times out of 10. I kept the Poco X3 GT stuck at that 4K res most of the time, and the detail levels are good and strong enough so your footage looks pretty damn tasty on a big screen. Again, don't try filming in testing conditions and you'll probably get pleasing results, while audio is cleanly picked up from all angles. Image stabilization is also good at that max res, so overall a big thumbs up from me. And you've got 2 other lenses slapped on the back end here of the Poco X3 GT, which are, to put it bluntly, a bit of a mixed bag. That 8 megapixel ultra wide angle lens does produce warmer, less natural looking pictures than the primary lens, but nothing too severe, and it definitely does come in handy when you need to pull back a bit and fit more into the frame. And then there's a 2 megapixel macro lens which can be used to shoot your subject up close, but the low resolution and other general limitations mean do not expect much. Meanwhile, the 16 megapixel selfie shooter does an okay-ish job, but I didn't get much in the way of detail indoors, and outdoors quite a lot of my shots were badly exposed, so if you are a selfie fan, you'll probably want to look elsewhere. So that right there's my full, frank review of the Poco X3 GT after using it as my full-time smartphone for about a week. And as you can see, that selfie shoot is definitely one of the biggest flaws here, along with the lack of microSD expandability and bugger-all headphone jack action. And a couple of other flaws as well, such as the fact that the screen isn't super bright, so lots of outdoors use, you're going to be struggling a little bit. But it's a real shame that there are all those flaws because the rest of the smartphone is fantastic. Performance is decent, even if you want to do a bit of gaming on the side. Battery life is great. I really like the smart and tidy design. So yeah, that's what I think of the Poco X3 GT. But what do you guys at home reckon? Have you already ordered yourself one, or are you tempted by it? And if not, why not? It'd be great to hear your thoughts down in the comments below. And for more on the latest and greatest tech, including the best budget smartphones in 2021, please do subscribe, ding that notifications bell, and have yourselves a fine ass rest of the week. Cheers everyone, love you.